Most people believe that success starts with controlling the world around them, more money, more discipline, better opportunities. But in reality, everything begins much closer than that. It begins in the mind. If you cannot control your own thoughts, emotions, and attention, no amount of external success will ever feel stable. The mind, when left unmanaged, becomes a chaotic place. It jumps from fear to desire, from comparison to regret, without pause. And when the mind is chaotic, life follows the same pattern. The modern world is designed to capture attention. Notifications, news, opinions, and endless content compete for space in your head from the moment you wake up. If the first thing you do each day is reach for your phone, you are letting the outside world set the direction of your thoughts. You begin the day reacting instead of choosing. Over time, this trains the mind to crave stimulation, making silence uncomfortable. But silence is not empty. Silence is where clarity lives. A few quiet minutes each morning without input creates distance between you and the noise. That distance is power. Spending time alone is not loneliness. It is mental hygiene. When you sit without distractions, your thoughts rise to the surface. At first, this can feel uncomfortable. The mind may replay old worries, unresolved fears, or unfulfilled desires. Most people escape at this point, using entertainment as a shield, but if you stay, something interesting happens, the thoughts begin to slow down, you start to see patterns, you realize how repetitive and predictable your mind really is. This awareness weakens the grip those thoughts have over you. The key insight is simple but life-changing. You are not your thoughts. Thoughts appear automatically, shaped by past experiences and conditioning. They do not require belief. When you observe them without judgment, they lose authority. Fear weakens when it is seen clearly. Anxiety dissolves when it is not resisted. Inner peace is not about forcing positive thinking. It is about understanding that thinking itself is optional. Attention is your most valuable asset. Whatever you focus on grows stronger in your mind. If you focus on problems, your life feels like a collection of problems. If you focus on learning, growth feels natural. This is why controlling attention is more important than controlling time. You can have free time and still feel trapped if your mind is scattered, but with focused attention, even a few hours can feel deeply fulfilling. Emotional reactions often feel automatic, but they are learned habits. When something triggers anger, insecurity, or frustration, there is a brief moment before reaction. In that moment lies freedom. With awareness, you can choose response over reaction. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions. It means letting them pass without letting them drive your actions. Over time, this creates emotional stability. You become less reactive and more intentional. A calm mind makes better decisions. It sees clearly without the distortion of fear or desire. When the mind is steady, you stop chasing validation and start building real value. You no longer need external approval because you are not at war with yourself. Control the mind, and life becomes simpler, not easier, but clearer. And clarity is what turns effort into progress and progress into lasting peace. Most people think wealth comes from working harder. Longer hours, more effort, constant hustle. But effort alone has a limit. There are only so many hours in a day, and your energy is finite. True wealth is built differently. It comes from leverage, the ability to multiply your output without multiplying your time. Once you understand this, your entire approach to work changes. Leverage means using tools, systems, and ideas that work for you while you sleep. In earlier times, leverage came mainly from labor and capital. Today, technology and media have made leverage accessible to almost anyone. Code, content, and creativity allow a single person to reach millions. The internet does not reward effort equally. It rewards value at scale. One good decision, one useful product, or one timeless idea can outperform years of manual labor. The foundation of leverage is specific knowledge. This is knowledge that cannot be easily taught, outsourced, or replaced. It often comes from genuine curiosity, lived experience, and long-term obsession with a field. Schools teach generalized knowledge. Leverage rewards specialized understanding. When you build skills that are rare and valuable, Opportunities begin to find you. You stop competing with thousands of people for the same job and start operating in a smaller, less crowded space. Learning should be a daily habit, not an event. Reading, experimenting, and building sharpen your understanding over time. Small daily improvements compound quietly. Most people overestimate what they can learn in a week and underestimate what they can learn in 5 years. Wealth is not built in sudden breakthroughs. It's built through patience and consistency. Creation is more powerful than consumption. Consuming information can feel productive, but it rarely changes your position in the world. Creating something, writing, building, teaching, or sharing ideas turns knowledge into leverage. The internet gives you a permanent record of your thoughts and work. One piece of content can work for you for years, reaching people you'll never meet. When you create, you convert time into assets. Long-term thinking is another form of leverage. Short-term thinking optimizes for quick rewards but creates instability. Long-term thinking allows compounding to work in your favor. Relationships deepen, skills sharpen, trust accumulates. When you play long-term games with long-term people, friction decreases and opportunities increase. Reputation becomes a silent asset, opening doors without effort. Ownership matters. Renting your time limits your upside. Owning equity, products, or intellectual property creates alignment between effort and reward. This doesn't mean everyone must start a company. It means thinking beyond hourly pay. Ask yourself whether what you're working on can grow without your constant involvement. If it can't, you are capped. Wealth is not just financial freedom, it is freedom of choice. The ability to say no, the ability to work on what matters. Leverage gives you that freedom. By focusing on learning rare skills, creating scalable assets, and thinking long-term, you allow small efforts to produce outsized results. In the end, wealth is simply the outcome of designing your life around leverage instead of labor. Most people believe happiness comes from adding more to their lives, more money, more possessions, more status, more experiences. But over time, this accumulation creates complexity, and complexity creates stress. A well-designed life is not one filled with more, but one freed from what is unnecessary. Simplicity is not about living with less for the sake of sacrifice. It is about removing the noise so you can focus on what truly matters. Desire is the root of much suffering, not desire in its natural form, but excessive, unexamined desire. When you constantly want what you do not have, peace is postponed into the future. You tell yourself you'll be happy once you achieve the next goal, buy the next thing, or reach the next level, but the finish line keeps moving. Designing a simple life means questioning every desire. Ask whether it genuinely improves your well-being or simply feeds comparison. When desires shrink, contentment grows naturally. Honesty begins within. Self-deception is subtle and dangerous. We justify habits that drain us, relationships that no longer serve us, and ambitions borrowed from others. Telling the truth to yourself requires courage. It means admitting when something isn't working, when you're avoiding discomfort, or when you're chasing approval instead of meaning, but clarity only comes through honesty. Once you see reality as it is, you can act effectively instead of emotionally. A simple life is built on daily routines that support your body and mind. Sleep, movement, and nutrition are not glamorous, but they are foundational. When your body is neglected, everything feels harder than it needs to be. Energy drops, motivation fades, and small problems feel overwhelming. Taking care of your health is not self-indulgence. It is a practical decision that quietly improves every part of your life. Relationships also benefit from simplicity and honesty. Complexity in relationships often comes from unspoken expectations, hidden resentments, and unclear boundaries. Saying what you mean and meaning what you say reduces friction. When your words and actions align, trust forms naturally. You don't need to impress people who value authenticity. The right relationships feel lighter, not heavier. Consistency matters more than intensity. Many people swing between extreme effort and complete burnout. They rely on motivation, which is unreliable. A simple life favors small, repeatable actions. Walking every day beats intense workouts done once a month. Saving regularly beats occasional financial discipline. Showing up quietly beats dramatic promises. Over time, consistency builds confidence. You begin to trust yourself, and self-trust is a powerful source of calm. Letting go is part of honest living. This includes outdated goals, toxic habits, and even versions of yourself that no longer fit. Growth often requires subtraction. When you stop pretending, stop overcommitting, and stop chasing validation, mental space opens up. In that space, peace emerges. A simple, honest life does not mean avoiding ambition. It means choosing ambition deliberately. You focus on fewer things, but you do them with clarity and intention. When life is uncluttered, progress feels lighter. You move forward without internal conflict. In the end, simplicity is not about having less. It is about being free from unnecessary desires, unnecessary drama, and unnecessary noise.